Good morning, Vietnam. There's a place up ahead and I'm going just as fast as my feet can fly. Come away if you're going. Leave the sinking ship behind. Come on the rising wind. We're going up around the bend. Ooh, bring a song and a smile for the banjo. Better get while the getting's good. There you go, everybody. Bit of CCR for you. Creedence Clearwater Revival. Been playing it ever since I was a youngster, and many other songs that they produced over the short time that they were together. Brilliant musicians. Sorry about that. Should bring the sub count down by about 150. Paul, just thought I'd throw that in for you. Bit of Good Morning Vietnam there, and a bit of CCR. As we can see, we've got a bit more progress on the Australians, 1st Royal Australian Regiment, Nui Dat, Phuoc Toi Province, Vietnam, 1968. We've seen the M60 gunner, so I won't bring him up. We've got our scout stroke runner here. As I say, there's not the faces are quite slabby on these. There's not a lot I can feel like I can do with them. So I won't give put the bottles out again. You all saw them on the last M60, and it's all the same, just different variations. I'll try and keep this particular webbing roughly looking the same, but with a few colour variations in that as well. Did a metallic on the actual metal parts of the M16 there, apart from the actual end of the rifle. The end of the rifle, that's a real good technical term. Around the flash suppressor and the sight anyway. That's just normally blued, but this part here is like that grey slight metallic look to it. So I did a metallic in there, which you can't really see, which is what I'm hoping for. It just gives a bit of different variation to it, and then I washed it down with different paints. I've still got to put maybe the steel tang in between that wood on the machete. I think there, it looks a bit odd. But yeah, that's our M16. We've got our number 2 for the M60. I've done this fellow as an Aboriginal. Plenty served in Vietnam with the same distinction. You'll probably all know if you've seen Long Tan documentaries. Buddy Lear. He was involved in Long Tan, and there were a lot of other Aboriginal guys that served there as well. So all kudos to them. So I've done this guy, as I say, as an Aboriginal. The black here are obviously the belts for the M60. From what I can gather, or what I've seen on the photographs, it's like I'm not sure if it was rubberized, vulcarized rubber, or if it was actually like a PVC. But it just keeps the belts from getting too much muck on them. Because although things like the M60 and the Gympie that the British Army use, they're really robust. But obviously, if they're going to get a load of crud in around the rounds, when it gets a bad feed, then in the machine gun, and you'll either get stoppages. And the gun especially in the day, I mean, it's changed. Back in my day, that they were putting less emphasis on the general purpose machine gun, that's so the 7.62 round, and going towards lighter ones. But I believe in lighter Afghanistan and that they needed more belt fed machine guns back in. It's almost gone 360. We always said at the time, we used them in Northern Ireland to bring extra firepower down for the patrol, but in the main orders of battle against well, it wasn't the Warsaw Pact by then, but it was lighter machine guns with the more heavier machine guns in the dedicated platoon, machine gun platoon only, and then those gunners would come out, would be parcelled out to in need of when time of battle came. But now I think it's gone 360 again. They need the belt-fed machine guns, especially with the heavy punch that these guys can give out. And back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, your platoon was always built round the actual gunners. The riflemen were really there to support the main firepower of the machine gun. So if you've got a bad feed on your machine gun, your rounds, you can literally stop an attack, your own attack in its tracks, because what you do is you drop these guys off and they put suppressive fire down into a depth area as the rest of you go forward. Well, if he gets a bad feed, then suddenly all those rounds aren't going down and suppressing and keeping the enemy in their holes, giving them time to jump up and start spraying, obviously, the guys advancing. So it's vitally important that the rounds are kept flowing through the machine gun. So they've obviously I've never seen those covers before, apart from like the Vietnam era in the Australians. I don't know if the Americans did it. I don't believe the UK did it. But so that's what that's represented. And again, I've tried to go for different colours on the webbing. There really was a mishmash of pouches. Whether they were just issued like that or the lads were allowed to put their own preference on depth of pouch, all that type of thing. Obviously, the SLR has a different magazine shape and size to the M16. So it depends on the pouches. And often a pouch can be used for carrying grenades in as well. I know you get to see a lot of these guys with grenades hanging off clips on their webbing, but if you're going through the undergrowth, and I particularly wouldn't want a grenade, just there's always that chance that the pin's going to pop, and next thing you know, you've got a grenade going off. Anyway, I'm waffling as usual, so let's put these guys to one side. The other two I've only just started working. Obviously this guy, the radio op, he's going to be the last one to be done. Got to put some shadow. I'm not happy with that, it's too light, so his jacket's going to be darkened down with some deeper shadows. I'll probably leave the highlights in and just go for the shadows on him. I've only put one base coat down on the large pack itself, so that's got to be highlighted up yet. A lot more work's got to be done to his bush hat. So that's the commander. That's the tenuous link, these two, in these Paul Beccas Commands. We've got a bit more work done on our fallen down rubber plantation building, outhouse, whatever you want to call it. I've gone for a concrete tilt up, so I didn't have to do too much work with a bit of brickwork thrown in. So this is a concrete tilt up with metal type frames for the windows. I put some, you can see the glass is just obviously cut up blister pack and put there. Yes, I went. I always think it's funny when you've got tin foil here that's metal, and then you paint it metal with metallic paint. It'll go on that way. I did do the other side, but it'll go upside down like this. It's just tin foil. It's very weak. I bent it over some cocktail sticks. I put a strip of masking tape down and put a load of cocktail sticks and tried to push it around the cocktail sticks to get that corrugated look. It's not brilliant, but you can see it's roughly supposed to be corrugated. I've not gone over the top on the rust. I've just gunged it up really, and that was done with enamel washes that you can use on the scale models. But to be honest with you, you can get that exact effect off paint. Just put your acrylic paints down and it'll do the same thing. So yeah, that bit's as far as it's got. I put oils on there, oil streaking and a bit of the enamel streaking as well. Not too happy there, it's gone a bit iffy. I might try, you can sometimes reactivate it, but I think it's a bit dry now. But I've got a load of other stuff to go around this anyway, so it probably won't look as bad as it does. So that's that. And last night, very fiddly, but we got there in the end. I start again the things you do, sticking roots to roots to make a little shabby tree. Let's see if we can go back, can we? Yeah. So he's going to roughly, I believe, I'll probably change my mind, but I want it to look as if it's growing up through, so it'll be roughly something like that. You know, it'll try and get it to tilt over slightly. It did look quite good. I'll put some putty down for it to sit in. It'll be roughly like that. How the leaves will look, I don't know. I don't know yet, because they're just going to be either tacky glued or white glue, and then I'll put some foliage on of some description. But that's my tree. I don't want to do any more trees, I don't think, because the idea of this base was to get away from that. As I say, as far as I'm aware, whenever I've seen photographs of the Australians operating in Phuk Toi province, it wasn't one of these like near the Cambodian border or up in the DMZ, where there was a lot more green jungle, if that makes sense. It was more woodland and disused rubber plantations. As far as I'm aware, you know, I'm not some expert on the subject, but you know, over the years when I've just been reading different books and seeing the photographs, that's roughly what it looked like to me anyway, and how it's described in some of the books I've been reading. So I don't want to do lots of trees over it, so that'll be our tree, just to show some like broken down overgrown building, and then our figures will be around it, and then obviously we'll do the base up. So there you go, Paul. I saw your video the other day. Obviously I put a comment on it, so I'm glad to see that you're getting along. I know it's going to be a long hard struggle for you, Mara, and I know there'll be ups and downs along the way, but again, you know, as I said on the comment, with your own fighting spirit and all the best wishes of people around the YouTube community, you'll beat it, Mara. It'll get you over the line, and obviously your own family seeing you through. So all the best to you, Mara. This will be number 2, and I know, before you all start screaming at me, where can you get my singing voice on iTunes? Well, I haven't got that far yet, but I'm sure I'll be bringing a few tunes out for, is it iTunes? I don't know, I don't even do any of that stuff. But no, Paul, look after yourself, Mara. Number 3 will be along in the next couple of days. Take care of yourselves, guys. We'll catch each other soon on another vid. Cheers.